So Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. We cast down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, every lie of the enemy that comes in and presents an argument. So we were talking about Jesus in the wilderness in Matthew chapter 4, how the enemy came in, and the first thing that we see the enemy say to Jesus is, if you are the Son of God, command these stones to become bread. Just a few verses earlier at the end of Matthew chapter 3, Jesus had received a life-changing word from his Father. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Now we see the enemy coming to Jesus and seeking to throw dirt on that word that the Father had declared to the Son, attacking his identity, attacking the nature of God, attacking the word of God that was declared over him. So he says, if you are the Son of God, command these stones. In other words, if you are the Son of God, then prove it. How did Jesus respond? He said, it is written. In other words, I'm standing on the word of God. I'm not listening to the lie of the enemy. It is written, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. So I go back to the word that my Father spoke to me. I go back to his promise over my life, and I make his word my refuge. When you live from what the enemy says, or like what your neighbor says, or what your circumstance says, or what your empty wallet says, or whatever else, you stagnate the dream of God. Not the enemy. It's not the enemy that stagnates the dream of God for you. It's not the enemy that hinders he's going to do what he's going to do, but he doesn't have the authority to stop the flow of the grace of God in your life. We give him too much credit sometimes. The enemy attacks. Yeah, he brings arguments, and then our mind goes to work. Yeah, I just keep failing. I don't have the money. I never have the money. I never have the resources. This never seems to work out. Maybe I don't have what it takes. All these things that go through our minds. Listen, wage the good warfare according to the prophecies previously spoken. 1 Timothy 1, verse 17, 18, right around there. Wage the good warfare according to the prophecies that you have previously received. Cast down every argument and every high thing that tries to exalt itself against the knowledge of God. And he adds, and we take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. We have got to stop allowing negative thoughts to be in charge. I know that a lot of the tendency of our mind is to go negative a lot of things very often, but don't allow negative thoughts to run rampant and control the outcome of your future. Stop it. Take them captive, take them prisoner, put them in a chokehold, snuff them out, and then keep going forward. Move on with your life. Suffocate every lie of the enemy. So the lie comes, oh, you see, you just failed again. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have what it takes. God probably never spoke to you about that in the first place. Look, if you had a friend that you treated the way you treat yourself, like if you had a friend that you talk to the way that you self-talk, putting your friend down the way that you put yourself down, belittling your friend, condemning your friend, judging your friend the way you do it to yourself, they probably wouldn't be your friend for very long. You have to stop talking to yourself like that. Stop receiving those lies. Stop accepting them as your own thoughts. Cast them down as arguments that seek to exalt themselves against the knowledge of God in your life, and go back to what the Father said, declare his word, stand on it, speak it, and live from the promises of God.